Have you ever believed that God could feel regret? Probably not, because we were always taught this. God knows everything. He sees everything. He plans everything. He makes no mistakes. He feels no regret. But now I'm going to read you a verse from the Bible, word for word. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply pained. Stop. Read this sentence one more time. God regretted. His heart was pained. This sentence is in the Bible. Nobody invented it. Nobody added it. It has been standing there for thousands of years. But nobody asked, what does this mean? If God knows everything in advance, how can he feel regret? If he is the one who created man, why was he sad? And most importantly, does that regret still continue today? Today, we are pursuing these questions, and what we find will make you think deeply. Book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 6. The oldest and most fundamental book of the Bible, the book describing creation. And in the 6th chapter of this book, right before the great flood, something shocking is written. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply pained. The word used in the original Hebrew text is naham. Naham. It means to regret, to grieve, to seek comfort. And this word does not appear just once in the Bible. It appears repeatedly, both for humans and for God. But right here, a giant question arises that has occupied theologians for centuries. If God knows everything in advance, which the Bible says repeatedly, then it means he already knew that man would become this way. He knew it, but he created them anyway. Then he regretted it. How is this possible? Before giving an answer, let's look at the story of that moment, because behind God's regret, there is a truly shocking picture. God's regret did not emerge out of nowhere. There was a reason. Genesis chapter 6 explains it like this. Humans multiplied on the face of the earth, but at the same time, something else multiplied, evil. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Stop and think about this. Not just evil actions, not just evil behaviors. The thoughts and inclinations of the heart were continuously only evil from the inside out, every moment, nothing but wickedness. So how did this happen? When you look at the previous chapters of the Bible, you see something interesting. Right at the beginning of Genesis 6, it says this, "The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose." The sons of God, the daughters of humans. This phrase has been debated for thousands of years. Who are they? According to some theologians, these were marriages between people from different tribes and different faiths, a story of ordinary social collapse. But according to other theologians, and the book of Enoch strongly supports this interpretation, these sons of God are fallen angels, beings cast out of heaven who descended to earth, and the generation born from this mixture covered the earth in blood. Which one is correct? We do not know, but in both interpretations, the result is the same. Humanity sank into such deep evil that God felt his heart was pained. Now we come to the actual philosophical question. And this question is one of the most debated by theologians for 2,000 years. If God knows everything in advance, is regret even possible? What does regret mean? It means realizing a decision was wrong. It means things would be better if you had chosen differently. But if God knows everything, past, present, and future, then even the idea that he could have chosen differently becomes meaningless. Theologians have tried 3 different ways to solve this for centuries. The first way, metaphorical interpretation. God's regret is not actual regret. It is an adaptation to human language, a way of expressing God's feelings so humans can understand. In reality, God is unchanging and feels no regret. But this language was used so we could relate. This interpretation is logical, but there is a problem. Then why did the Bible use such powerful language? It said, his heart was pained. That is not a coincidence. The second way, actual emotion interpretation. Some theologians think differently. God truly grieves. He truly suffers pain because the beings he created, humans, matter to him. A mother grieves over what her child does, but that doesn't mean the mother didn't know everything. God knows, but he still feels sorrow. This interpretation is much more human and much more shocking. The third way, open theism. This is a highly controversial view that emerged in the last century. According to this, God does not know the future perfectly because he gave humans free will. If free will is real, the future is uncertain, and what is uncertain cannot be fully known, even by God. This view is rejected by many traditional theologians, but some argue it is the most consistent way to explain that word, nacham. Which one is correct? We do not know, but even asking this question radically shakes our understanding of God. God regretted. His heart was pained. And then he made a decision. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds, for I am regretful that I have made them. The decision for the flood. But there is something striking here. God was going to erase everyone, but he did not, because there was one exception. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. One man among millions. And because of this one man, God swore after the flood that he would never do such a thing again. He placed the rainbow in the sky as a sign of this oath. Think about this. God's regret gave birth to the flood, but Noah's existence transformed that regret. The goodness of one human changed God's decision. Doesn't this idea make you think? Was regret only a one-time thing? No. There are other verses in the Bible that mention God's regret, and these are much more interesting. In 1 Samuel chapter 15, God says, I regret that I have made Saul king, for he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. God made a man king. Then that man did wrong, and God regretted it. But in the exact same chapter, Samuel says this, He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not a human being, that he should change his mind. The same chapter, just a few verses apart. On one side, God regretted. On the other side, God does not change his mind. How can this contradiction be explained? Theologians have wrestled with this question for centuries, and the answers given paint very different pictures about the nature of God. Perhaps this contradiction is intentional. Perhaps the Bible is telling us this. You cannot fit God into a single definition. He is both unchanging and relational. He knows everything, yet your decisions affect him. This paradox perhaps stands at the very center of faith. We have seen so much today. That single sentence in Genesis 6, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth. This sentence has been there for thousands of years. But most people just read past it because it is unsettling, because it makes us question everything we know about God. If God can feel regret, does this make him more human, or does it make him more mysterious? And right now, today, in the year 2026, when looking at the state of humanity, is God still regretful? You give the answer to this question. Write it in the comments. I am truly curious about what you think.